Welcome back to another episode of TPC. We're going to be talking about college football week 5 predictions. I know Friday night was insane. Florida State losing to Virginia on the road, double overtime. That was a close game if anything. And then TCU choking to Arizona State. It was 17-0 at one point in that game, and they just straight up choked the game. And that fumble pretty much changed the whole thing, and they kicked the game-winning field goal right there, Josh Hoover. I really thought TCU was going to go undefeated for a while, but Arizona State, man, they're going to try to run it back if anything. But let's start with the Saturday games. I think the game that everyone's going to be highlighting in the morning game right now is Illinois and USC, 23 versus 21 at Illinois. Illinois shouldn't have been ranked, in my opinion. I think they should have got done after Indiana's blowout loss, and I think USC is going to blow out them again. I think Illinois is they were ranked so high last year because of what they did last year and what they were, and they looked really good with Luke Altmaier, if I say his name right, at the quarterback, and then Gabe Lucas, the edge rusher, I think, if I'm saying that right. They have a really good team. It's just they got killed by Indiana. It was bad, and they shouldn't have been ranked. But USC, though, they're solid, dude. USC is a very solid team this year. I think, undefeated. This is probably one of his, if I had to say, post Caleb Williams, one of the best rosters in Lincoln Riley's, in recent memories, since last year. It was pretty bad. If anything, they did win a bowl game, though. Don't get me wrong. But Jaden Maluv, if I can say his name right, has been pretty decent. Malavi has been pretty decent, if anything. And, the receiver core is really good, too. Lemon is solid for them. And the rushing attack of Jordan also, it's a solid team. And Jacoby also, Lane. It's a good team the USC has, if anything. And I think and their defense has improved a lot for the past 2 years. The defense sucked for the past, in the Caleb Williams era, and now post of that, and it's just been decent. And I think they do win this game on the road against Illinois. It's gonna be a tough crowd in the morning, but I think they do win this game, if anything. Going to another game in the morning, if I had to say, we got another one that's underrated at Arkansas in Fayetteville. Notre Dame versus Arkansas. Arkansas should have won the game against Memphis. They had it, and they choked it. They fumbled, and then they lost, and now they're not looking the best. They could have been ranked 2, and they could have been 3-1, looking really good. But now 2-2, dropping that loss was bad because they had a shootout against Ole Miss, dude. It was really competitive to the point is they had to put their quarterback got hurt, Austin Simmons, and then to put the quarterback from Fresno State, Freyers State, I believe. He was also transferred from that D2 school, if anything. And that game was a shootout, if anything, especially in the first half. But then he got slow in the second half, if anything. Yeah, his name is Chambliss, that quarterback. We'll talk about later of him. Trade down to us, Chambliss. He's been really good. But, Arkansas, they were so close to being undefeated, if anything. It's just these close games, and choking is not the best thing right now. And then Notre Dame being ranked at 1-2, 0-2. 1-2 now. It has to be impressive. They're not impressive. It's just the committee is really having high hopes for Notre Dame, if anything. Because if it was any other 1-2 team, they would have been out. But it's just how competitive their games were and how close they were and how they lost. Because they could have won both those games. Missed the PAT in the A&M game at home, and then the Miami game came down to the last drive, and it just couldn't get anything done. But it was a competitive games for both those games. But I understand where the committee is coming from with that. Being 1-2 though, but I think that Notre Dame does go on the road and winning, and they are favored in this game by 3.5, if anything. So I do think Notre Dame wins this game comfortably, and then they'll start the thing. And I honestly think they win 10 straight. I think they go 10-2 and make the playoffs, if anything. If nothing happens, they do got to play USC later in the year though. Looking at these other games, surprising team right now is North Texas, and the American division's been very hot and is very competitive right now. And I do think North Texas is going to maybe win with this team they have right now. It's very competitive with their team right now. Vanderbilt plays Utah State. That should be a blowout. They're favored in that game big time. And I think those really are the main port games. If anything that's shocking, Pittsburgh, Louisville might be a good game. If anything, Eli Hollister, or Holston, if I say his name correctly. He's solid. But Louisville's been very consistent, too, with Isaac Brown as the lead horse for this team. They're undefeated. And then I think Pitt is undefeated. No, 2-1. Pitt's 2-1. It's going to be a competitive game, if anything. It's going to be a very underrated game. And Louisville is favored in that game on the road also. So if I had to say a team, I would take Louisville in this thing. I think Louisville has the better roster, if anything. Now, let's switch gears to the 2:30 games. I think everyone. I'm gonna go in depth in this game. Ohio State, the number one team in the country, plays Washington, and Washington I think could pull upset. This could be one of the biggest upsets we could see in years. They are favorite in this game, 8.5 right now. But Washington though has those skill players, like very good skill players, if anything, and they are undefeated, and it's in Husky Town, and Julian Sain, redshirt freshman quarterback is going to be starting in this game, on the road for the first time. He's not been on the road at all, and this is going to be entertaining. And I think the Huskies, dude, want to shock the world. Because I look at this team with their quarterback, if I can say his name, Demon Williams Jr. I mean, he's been solid this year. 6 touchdowns, 700 yards so far in these games. And then John Coleman has been very solid. Coleman has been really of a big horse. I think he's going to be really good in this draft class upcoming in the running back core with Jeremiah Love. And then Desmond Boston, dude. He's very underrated. 6'4", his stature. I mean, kind of a DK build, if anything, or George Pickens. This guy can change a game. He could be an X factor in this game if they don't know how to stop him. Matt Patricia, I know that defense is going to be solid, playing against, after, shocking the world, not shocking the world, but like locking up Arch Manning pretty much in week 1. But they haven't played anyone yet. And I think the Huskies are going to show up in this game. It's going to be very underrated in this game. I'm going to shock the world. I'm going to take Washington in this game. I think Washington's going to do it. I think Washington and those skill players they have is going to do it. And I think that crowd for Julian Sain is going to get to him, and he's going to crumble. And if he doesn't, that means Ohio is going to keep doing Ohio things. But if Washington wins this game, woo, chaos is going to wreck it, and if anything. But I'm going to take Ohio. I'm going to take Washington in this game. I'm going to take it, and yeah, I'm going to take it. And going to another game in this thing, at the 2:30 games. This one is kind of shocking. The Lane Kiffin battle, if I have to say. His daughter is dating Whit Weeks. They came out a couple days ago, and that is hilarious. And this game is at Ole Miss, and Austin Simmons is hurt still. I don't know yet if he's not playing though. I said that it's going to be that quarterback from Ferris State, that one quarterback they got out of transfer portal, and he's very good, bro. He is very solid, and he's better than Austin Simmons, because Austin Simmons was a turnover machine. He just couldn't get to anything. But Turdon Chambliss has been very solid in the pass game and the run game, being the lead horse in the rushing yards, in the passing yards, of course, and being that big factor, that dual threat quarterback. And this is what Ole Miss needs, a dual threat quarterback to run this offense, because they don't have those crazy receivers like last year they did with, they have Caden Lee and then Duacon Wright, if anything, and then Harrison Wallace the third. I mean, they're decent, but they don't have that receiver core they had last year with Trey Harris. That's a big thing, and then that was their big factor, was a passing offense last year with this. And now you're going to switch to a running quarterback that's going to be really good in this offense, and with the combinations with Kalen Lacey is going to be really good. And I do like this. I like this. It fits the system, and I think this fits Lane Kiffin's system. But let's go to Ole Miss. Not Ole Miss. Let's go to LSU now. LSU is, I think they're number 4 team now. Dropped a couple weeks ago. They were number 3, but now I think they're number 4 because Miami jumped them. Everyone, pretty much. Let me see. Yes. Yes, so LSU is number 4. But the thing about LSU is you look at their games. Very close. Every single game has been very close. And I look at it, and it's alarming. That Clemson game is different now. Clemson sucks. Everyone can beat Clemson now. And, Louisiana Tech is 23-7. It was like, okay, what's going on? And then the Florida game, their offense was nothing. Their defense showed up. I mean, J.J. Lagway was throwing Stevies left and right. I mean, 5 picks in that game. Of course you're going to win that game. But, the offense has not been anything. We expected this offense to be high alert, killing teams, looking good. It's been the defense, if anything, has been showing up with them. Whit Weeks and that secondary has been really solid with it. Perkins is back, of course. We know he's been a DJ Pick, and I mean, it's very solid in the secondary for this team. It's been leading this, and then Darshawn Spears, of course, and AJ Hollis, and then D-Lan, Mansour D-Lan, if I say his name correctly, and then you have this defensive line. It's been very solid with adding Patrick Payton from Florida State, in the transfer portal, and then Demaine Shaklin. has been very solid also. I mean, and then you have McClellan also, the D tackle. It's been very interesting how this defense has been leading this team because this offense is supposed to be the high power. I mean, Katie Durman hasn't done anything. Only 2 touchdowns. I mean, they haven't built the run game with anything. And then Garrett Nussmeier, I mean, he's been solid. He's going to be the top quarterback coming out of this draft class. But the thing is, they haven't had a crazy performance. I know it's going to be a great game. Atmosphere, it's going to be tough playing in Ole Miss. It's going to be tough. The Rebels are going to be loud in that game. It's just, I feel like Lane Kiffin wants to get back on his daughter. Honestly, like, you know what, you gonna make that troll? I'm gonna beat your boyfriend's team now, if anything. And Whit Weeks went off last time they played each other, also in that game last year. Ole Miss is favored 2.5 in this game. 2.5, and it, being the 3.5, number 4 overall, the 4th team in the nation, going on the road against 13. Can Chambliss do it? Can Chambliss do it? If he does it, Austin Simmons lost his job. He's not getting that back, and it's going to be his for the taking, and Chambliss is going to ride it high, and Ole Miss is looking good. But if LSU wins this game, they continue the narrative. They're going to keep trying to push the Natty, since their last time making the playoffs was 2019, and this roster has the potential to be like the 2019 LSU, but it depends on Garrett Nussmeier. But I think the key factors is you got to start hot for the LSU. You can't turn over the ball. You got to look really good. Defense is going to do a job. Limit Chambliss so much because he's the X factor for this team to be really good. And I think if you limit him, I think this team will be fine. It just depends on that, though. And if I had to take a team, I think LSU. I think LSU still rides high, and I think this win, and I think Brian Kelly stays undefeated, if anything. So, going to another SEC game, A&M versus Auburn at A&M. Auburn should have won last week. There were so many concert calls, getting sacked 10 times last week, also on the road against his former team, Jackson Arnold. It was impressive. They almost had the game. It's just too many missed calls. Cam Coleman, missed that PI, in the end zone. But, 10 sacks, you can't have that. And then the one play, like the miscommunication, the guy came off the sideline. Well, he was going off the sideline, substitution, and then he scored the touchdown. Defense didn't know what he was doing. And you can't do that in college. And the SEC came out a couple days ago with that. But the Aggies, number 9. This is the best start forever since Johnny Manziel, if anything, for this Aggies team. And it's looking solid. And they're favored in this game. Of course, they're at home. But it's going to be a shootout. A&M has that defense, but they've been in a shootout before already with Notre Dame earlier this year on the road. And their defense is okay. Look at this game. Look at this thing. They're averaging 40 points right now with their offense. We know that Marshall Reed has been so good in this offense. And, Calvert, or if I can say that right. And then KC, the receivers have been really good with Reed with the pass game. And, Mario Craver and then KC. It's been very solid in that. And then you still have Moss, of course, and then Ruben Owens. That's just – he hasn't done anything, though. But it's been mainly Moss and Reed in this game for the rushing attack. And, Mario Craver had, 200 yards. Him and Casey both went off in that Notre Dame game. And I think the Auburn defense is very good. It's very solid. We saw what they did against, OU, and then to the point is OU had to do some tricky plays. And, the defense, if Auburn does not get sacked 10 times, I think Auburn wins that game, honestly. And, you're going to have one game like that. Your O-line's going to have a bad game. Luckily, it's early in the season. The Auburn Tigers are going to figure it out. And I feel like this game, Jackson Arnold is going to ball out. I think he's going to have another great game because last week he had a good game. It's just the O-line fell apart on him and he couldn't do anything and just straight terrible. And I think Cam Coleman and him are going to build a connection because Cam Coleman is the 3rd best receiver in this country. Well, of that class, not in the country, but 2027 NFL draft. If he does, declare that with Jeremiah Ryan Williams, he's up there. He's the 3rd best in that class, if anything, the 2024 draft, 24 recruiting class, and I think he is, and he's going to be a big factor. And you still got Eric Singleton, Jr. You got him for he's been consistent. He has had a catch in every single game, a couple yards. He's consistent. He's going to be a big factor in this game, and I think A&M is going to have a difficult time with that. But their defense is solid, though, if anything, for A&M. This game can go back and forth. And I'm going to take Auburn. I think Auburn does go on the road and wins this game. I think they could have won last week on the road against OU, against his former team. I think this game is going to be a different game, and I think there's not going to be many sacks. And I think Jackson Arnold's going to have a really game in the rushing attack and the passing attack. So I'm going to take Auburn in this game. look at these other games, I mean, you got Tulane versus Tulsa. Solid game right there. Americans looking really good. Tulane's favorite 15.5 after Tulsa winning that game against Oklahoma State. I mean, I don't know. That's going to be a solid game. I think Tulane does win that game, though. Baylor versus Oklahoma State. I think Baylor dominates that game because Mike Gundy just got fired. And the thing is, Baylor has had so many close games this year. No, since the game of last year against Colorado, they have had a close game every single game. Every single game's been one score for Baylor Bears, or like almost two scores. And it's not even on their defense. The defense has been so decent. It's just the offense just starts slow for them. If Baylor's offense can start high, and Sawyer is that one of those top quarterbacks, or quote unquote the Heisman, Baylor should win this. Because last week they lost last week against Arizona State, game-winning field goal. The offense started slow, but the defense did their job. It's just David Aranda is doing so well on his defense. It's just the offense has to pick up the slack, and they just didn't run the ball well in that game against Arizona State. They just kind of fell through. But I think Baylor wins this game. Mike Gundy, the end of the Mike Gundy era is pretty sad, but I think it's going to be a blowout. If anything, Baylor wins on the road. So, and to the later games now. Let's attack the 3:15 game, Tennessee-Mississippi State. It's at the road. You're going to Mississippi State. Tennessee's 15th, the 15th team in the nation. Tennessee has a high-power offense with Joey looking really good. And, 3-1, coming off a loss a couple weeks ago against Georgia at home, losing by double overtime. Your kicker missed that wide, field goal, pretty much changed everything for you. And Joey's been that big quarterback for you. He's been better than Nico, honestly. He's been really consistent. And you don't have the rushing attack. That's my big factor for Tennessee. They don't have that running attack, and they need that running attack because people are going to come in and it's like, okay, they're pass first. Because Chris Bazel II is solid, and then you have Braylon Staley and Mike Matthews. They're both good, a good trio of receivers. Mainly just Chris, if anything. But, I mean, Joey's been good, dude. Joey's a solid quarterback in this, SEC division. Everyone attacked Tennessee. They're going to fall apart. They're going to suck. But Joey's been picking it up, transferring from UCLA, after the Nico situation. Tennessee's been decent. And Mississippi State, though. They should have been ranked, in my opinion. They should have made it in the rankings over, Illinois or, a couple other teams. But we'll say it later, and maybe Notre Dame, if anything. But, Mississippi State is undefeated. They're coming off hot. They're looking good. This is their best start they've since the Dak era, back in the Dak era, and they look solid. And I really do like this Mississippi State team. It's led by the quarterback. I think is Blake Shapen, former Baylor Bear. He's been doing good. He did really good in that game against the Arizona State game. Came down the wire with that game-winning touchdown. And you look at the receivers, Anthony Evans and then Brendan Thompson. I mean, solid receiving core, nothing crazy. But I think a big factor is their defense, if anything. Their defense led by Isaac Smith in the back end has been the big help for that. You need a good safety in this league. And I think for this team to win, especially against Tennessee, you got to limit those receivers. You got to limit those top receivers and limit Joey and let them beat you in the run game. Try them. Take away their pass and see if they can beat you in the run. That's the thing is I gotta look at Tennessee is they can't run the ball, and you just gotta beat them at that. In Mississippi State, they have a decent run game. It's nothing crazy. I mean, Bothwell is not bad. It's just he's not insane. It's just they just can be better. And I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be tough. It's going to be closer than I think people thought. It's not going to be a blowout. It's just, I want to take the underdog. I really like taking underdogs this week. I think we're going to see a lot of upsets like last week or earlier this week. I mean, they're favoring 7.5. I want to take Mississippi State. I'm going to take Mississippi State. I'm going to take former Baylor Bear, and I think Ben Shapen is going to win this game. I think Tennessee's good, yes, but I think that Mississippi State is riding high still, and I think they come win at home. So I'll take Mississippi State in this game. A very underrated game right here. Both undefeated teams. Surprisingly, Arizona versus Iowa State. Iowa State's been solid this year. Coming off close games, nothing shocking, and we know what they can do. It's Iowa State. I mean, almost lost to Arkansas State, almost lost to Iowa. Almost lost to K-State. Too many close games, and now you're playing Arizona's team that's been consistent. And, they're favoring this game big time, 4.5. And, both these teams are undefeated. But the thing is, though, Arizona State also played K-State. And K-State, we know they suck. Beat Hawaii, Weber. I mean, it's just like, this game is so difficult. I mean, it's at Iowa State. Noah's been decent with this team. Ismail has been also a good running back for this team. And then Craig. And then it's just the receivers. I mean, since losing T-Mac from the draft, it's been kind of slow. It's just pretty much the Noah show, if anything, for this team. But then you look at Iowa State. I mean, Iowa State has the better team overall. You look at the team. You go roster for roster. Iowa State should win this game. But it's going to be close, I think. I think Iowa State, every game's been close for them. Both have similar, wins. But if I had to take a team, I'm going to take Iowa State at home, 7.5. I'll take that. Going to these other games, I mean, Memphis coming off of a hot win. I think Memphis, win this game. But let's attack the Hollywood games, if anything. My favorite games. I'm going to be sitting on my couch watching these games. Penn State, Oregon, and you got Georgia, Alabama. Let's start with Penn State. Whiteout game. There's things that Oregon's going to show out in a glow-out, if anything, glow-out jerseys. I heard that a couple days ago. This is a rematch of the Big Ten Championship also. Close game last year, too. This is alarming. This game, every draft person's going to look at this game. Drew Aller and Dante Moore. Who is going to be that top quarterback? Who is going to be that guy who's going to avail at this game? Because every draft scout is looking at Drew Aller as the next top quarterback in this thing. He has the frame, 6'6", looks really good, has the arm, just the accuracy. Can we work on that? Can it be like a Josh Allen, kind of situation? I think Oregon should win this game because it's, you look at the receivers with Dante Moore, and then I know Evan Stewart's out. He's been out for, the whole rest of the season. I think he's missing because he has surgery. It's been, the freshman, Dakota Moore, if I can say his name right, has been the main thing. Yeah, Decory Moore, the freshman they got, and he's been really good. And the run game's been very good with Jalen Limmer and then Hill. It's been very solid with that. And then you still got, Keon Saquon, the tight end they have, and then Malik Benson. I mean, it's a solid receiver core. But Dante Moore's been really good. Every scout's looking at him. He's like, he looks good. Everybody's looking at that. Everyone's looking at it. But the thing is, if Drew Aller does really good, and this Penn State team is really good on paper, it's just Drew Aller. Can he make those throws? Can he be accurate? Can he show up and be that prospect they need him to be? Because Dante Moore, we've seen him blow out these teams. Oregon has dominated every single team they have played, pretty much. It's been a murder show. Murder. Literally averaging almost, score 69 against Oklahoma State, score 34, then blow out Oregon State. I mean, they've been just dominating, and the defense has only, been decent. The defense has been solid for this team. And I think this defense is probably one of the best teams in the country. I know they haven't played in one. We'll see how, in the whiteout, if anything, But I just think, they have a solid defense. This defense led by, the safety guy from Purdue, Dylan, and then you still have your edge rushers with Mateo, and it's solid, and he's Samilian Davis. And then you still got Bryce, and then you got Tulin, and then it's a solid team. And then Peyton Woodyard, and then you got Bear Alexander also. You also picked up, I think, but it's a solid team, and I think it really depends on Penn State how Drew Aller does, though. Because I think they're going to take away the run game. They're going to take away those wombo combo, those two running backs in the backfield, if anything. Because that's what Penn State's led by is their running backs. And Penn State's good. They did finish in the Final Four last year, the number 3 team in the nation. They brought everyone back. Katron Allen, and then you still have Nicholas Singleton. And the receivers, Luke Reynolds, he's solid, nothing crazy. And then you still got Carwin Hudson and then Devontae Ross, but he hasn't done anything yet. It just depends on Drew Aller, though. Can Drew Aller show up? I think he can. I think they win this game. But I think I'm going to take the underdogs in this game. I'm going to take Oregon. I think Oregon's going to maybe win the Natty this year. Oregon and Georgia are the 2 best teams in the country. Other game, the Alabama-Georgia game. This game, the history right there has been very crazy. This is the last time Kirby Smart... the last time Alabama played in Georgia was when Kirby Smart was on Alabama. And that was almost like a half decade. And The thing is, I'm going to take Georgia in this game. I think Georgia's going to win in a close game, but I also think it's going to be a decent margin. I don't know why it's 2.5. I think Georgia's going to win this. They haven't lost at home since, I was in probably in COVID year. It's been a minute, if anything. And I look at this game, it's just, can Alabama's offense keep up with the Georgia's defense? Pretty much. It's going to be tit for tat, if anything. I know Ryan Williams did it last year, blew it out, did really good. But the thing is, the Georgia almost came back in the game, and they should have won that game almost, but, rest is history. And I just think it's a whole different team. And Ty Simpson, I know Alabama's good. I know on paper they looked better, and they looked decent. I just don't know how this team's going to do. Losing that Florida State game, and they haven't won a road game against a ranked team in forever. It's been, or even a road game. They lost to Vanderbilt last year on the road, lost to OU last year on the road, and then lost to Florida State this year on the road. It's been bad. It's just been bad in the Caleb DeBoer era, and I just don't know how they're going to do somehow winning on the road against one of the best teams who have not lost a game at home in forever. I know they don't have a run game either. That's my big factor with this team. They don't have a run game. It's been the pass game. It's led by Ty Simpson in that pass game, and I know Ryan Williams and Bernard and Isaiah Horton is going to lead this team, and the defense is going to be really good with Deontay Laws and Stab. I know this defense is one of the best in the country. But the thing is, I'm going to trust Secure Branch, Zach Frazier, and Oscar Delp, and then Gutterstocking, and hopefully Noah Thompson does well in the game over that Alabama defense. Because Alabama's defense didn't do anything against Tommy, and then, Virginia did something to Tommy. It makes no sense, but I'm still going to take Georgia in this game. I think Georgia is the better team on paper. I'm just saying that right now, but I think they overall win this game, though. But if anything, those are my predictions for the week, and thank y'all for joining for another episode of TPC. Y'all have a blessed day.